What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video. And today I kind of want to talk about Guilty Gear, and specifically the simplification of Guilty Gear. This discussion I feel like kind of came up earlier this year because like a video I made previously about how I feel devs tend to make fighting games easier. I know Maximilian had a video about that too. A lot of people have talked about that. But it's kind of come up again because of Guilty Gear. Arxis has said they want to make Guilty Gear 2020 a little bit easier for new players, and you know what that means for fighting game players. People have to say shit about it. Right, okay. So, for starters, one thing about Guilty Gear that I always thought is that if Xrd was a brand new game, not a game based off prior Guilty Gear games, just a new game, new IP, I think we would have treated it a lot differently than we did at the start, because honestly, Guilty Gear has a lot of scrubby shit in it. Let's just be honest, right? So take Soul. Soul would be mad easy. You all know Soul running around, whiffing Fafnir, whiffing Bandit Bringer, whiffing 2D, blah blah blah, right? Now, when Guilty Gear Xrd came out, people have been playing Guilty Gear forever. That game, Guilty Gear XX, is old. It's old. There's like 15 to 20 years of development of Guilty Gear. So experienced players are like, oh, look, it's Soul running around whiffing 2D. I know what to do. New players will cry about it, but eventually the experienced players like, this is how you deal with it. It's all good. But if Xrd was a brand new game, everyone would be like, whoa, you could just run around and do X. All you have to do, this character is Y. This character is so one-dimensional. All they do is Z, right? But we know how to handle it because the Guilty Gear scene has been playing pretty much a rather similar-ish game. Of course, changes every game, but the core of Guilty Gear tends to be the same, and they've been playing for 15-20 years, right? Which brings me to Guilty Gear 2020. So, now, one thing that, especially if you don't follow Arxis games like that, Arxis always says they try to make the games easier for people. They say every game, since like BlazBlue, they've been saying, it's like 10 years now, they've been saying, we want to make the game easier for new people. So, BlazBlue, the way they did that is they just made the input buffer bigger and made it so that you could roll, you could change your wake-ups, you could roll, you could delay, tech, right? And people are like, oh man, now combos are gonna be easy. Have you heard that one before? Combos gonna be easy, too easy. And oh no, there's no Oki. Oh. Turns out Oki's crazy in that game. Combos hard, of course. It's just at the start when the game comes out, it's easier for people. P4 Arena, same thing. When that game came out, they're like, we're gonna make the game easier for people. And then people are like, oh no, you can do automatic combos with one button and no combos. Oh my god, wow. Turns out that game was hard as fuck too. What a surprise. Even Dragon Ball, people were like, oh, there's auto combos and Super Dash. You can get to somebody from anywhere on the screen at any time. And lo and behold, as usual, the game is hard as fuck, right? So the only thing we really need to know is how are they going to make the game quote-unquote easier, right? How are they going to make the game easier? In what ways could they make the game easier that's meaningful? Because in one way, Xrd's goal was not actually to get new people into the game. I think they did stuff that helped new people get into the game. Primarily the main one was new characters. Probably the new characters were the best way for new people to get into the game. But Xrd's goal, I felt like, was to get people who used to play, like Street Fighter 4. So Street Fighter 4 was get people who were like, oh man, when I was 10 I played Street Fighter 2. Like, Street Fighter Third Strike is too complicated, let me just throw fireballs and DP when they jump. That's what Xrd was at the start. So, as far as Guilty Gear 2020, what kind of things can they do to get new people into the series? One, definitely going to be new characters. We already saw one. My boy Leroy. I've been calling him Leroy. I don't know what his name is. I've been calling him Leroy. Some people have been calling him Dude Ram. I don't know what he is. Okay? The black dude in the trailer. That's one. Okay. That's one way you can do it. Two would be the usual make the input buffer bigger. Input buffer being how the game receives commands, right? So Dragon Ball, I don't know how big the buffer is in Dragon Ball, but it's enormous. And Guilty Gear Xrd, I believe, is a 3-frame buffer. It's a very, very tight buffer. Feels great when you get good at it. When you're just starting, you're like, wow, I feel like I'm a skeleton. I can't fucking move. It's hard to move. But once you get used to it, it's nice. So they'll probably make that bigger, right? 3, auto combos, I'm sorry, it's inevitable. If you still think in 2019 auto combos are scrubby, I just really don't know what to tell you anymore, dude. There have been multiple games that have the auto combo system that we all say are hard to play games at this point. I really, really, really don't know what to say anymore about auto combos. I expect there will be auto combos in Guilty Gear 2020. I expect it's gonna be the same kind of, you know, like practical application, low key, that people figure out pretty quick. That's usually what happens to auto combos. Another big one. This is where we kind of start getting into the real, like, cutting into what Guilty Gear is, I think. One would be if they take up proximity normals. So, Guilty Gear has proximity normals, just like Street Fighter. So you have like close and far normals. If you talk to somebody who's played a lot of Guilty Gear, they probably have some story of the version of the move they wanted didn't come out, even though they were in a range where it should have came out, and then something happened and they died and they got sad. Locking moves behind proximity is an interesting idea, but I suspect they'll probably take that out of Guilty Gear. That would be a way to make it easier. Just thinking about ways to make it easier for new people to get in the game, right? Another thing they could probably do is the wake-up timing. I know, so as far as wake-up timings in Guilty Gear, when you get knocked down, you can be knocked down face up or face down, and the timing is actually different by character. So some characters don't really care that much actually, because the way they do it, like, let's say Kai is just going to do the grinder anyway. I'm ultra simplistic example before someone blows me up in the comments, right? But some characters care a lot. Like, for example, I played Millia. I know by heart the face up, face down knockdown, and I have them grouped in my head. Like, these guys get up slow, these guys get up fast, so I gotta do this. When I started the game, I was like, whoa, you have to actually learn this? But then, it, like, in my opinion, I think it's cool, because you can, like, do stuff to different characters that, like, if it was universal, you just do the same thing. But since it's not universal, some characters, you can, like, really destroy them, and other characters are like, oh, I gotta do this. On the flip side, right? So if your character, let's say you're a character with no DP, like Venom, your fast wake-up timing is actually, like, a buff to your defense, right? As opposed to Leo. Leo has, like, a DP, he has a flash kick, right? He's the only character in the game with a flash kick, but he gets up really slowly. Interesting little thing, but I suspect that will probably hit the chopping block a little bit, because that's a lot of stuff to learn. When there's 10 or 11 characters in the original game, it's not that bad, but as they add characters, once you get to like 20 plus, you're gonna be like, oh, I have to learn all this shit. Another thing I think would probably be, and I'm really surprised they didn't take this out of Exerd, and I haven't actually heard it discussed that much, mashed attack. I'm really surprised that mashed attack is still in Guilty Gear still. I know that they put it in Exerd on purpose, but I suspect that hold button to tech will be the new thing. They'll finally just move on. Besides that, I don't really know what else they might do, but you just have to remember, like, most of these simplification things. So as far as like things like auto combos or like making the buffer bigger and stuff like that, that doesn't really bother. It shouldn't really bother you. I think the main things that really get me about simplifying games is like just making it too much about like raw guessing. Not making the game about like threat, just about like either you win or you lose. I know I talked in the previous video about like how I feel like games make neutral too like easier for new people, making jump-ins too good is a pretty good example of that. We just have to see what they actually do. Like, we need actual game footage to get our hands on the game. ArcSys literally says this for every new game that comes out. Every single new game that comes out. Even Granblue, same thing. We're trying to make it easy for people, specifically for Granblue, easy for people who play the cell phone game to play the fighting game. Because Persona had the same thing, right? Persona had a big group of people who play RPGs. Persona fans played a game with fighting game players. So they had to, like, do some kind of intersection that makes everyone happy. I'm pretty happy with Granblue. Some people are like, oh, it's too simple. which I disagree with. But anyway, let me know what you think about the simplification of Guilty Gear. How do you feel? Are you like me and you're just like waiting to see it? Let's just actually see the game first instead of crying about it. Do you think that just like most new games are just too easy? You might be the best player in the world if you think that. Just let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. And I'll see you tomorrow, Friday, for some real ass talk. Alright.